On a cold January night in 1995, my college-age son came to me with a question. He wanted to know whether or not I was going to come out publicly. By coming out, he meant coming out of the closet. He then made an interesting offer. He said, "Dad, if you just feel like you can't do it for whatever reason, it's okay with me if you tell people that you've heard the rumors about yourself and they aren't true. And the reason that you care so much about this issue and have spoken out about this issue is because you're the proud father of a gay son. My son is not gay." The question didn't just come out of the blue. It came the weekend before a special school board meeting had been called by the Des Moines Public Schools on the following Tuesday for the sole purpose of discussing the topic, homosexuality and the public schools. My son had known that I am gay for 5 years at that point, even before his mother and I dissolved our marriage. He thought this elephant in the room needed to be addressed. This was the right time, and I was the right person to do it. I thanked him for his offer and told him I had not yet decided what I was going to do. Since the age of 5, I had known that there was something about me that was different. I didn't have a name for it. I didn't have a label for the attraction that I felt towards some men. I defined myself outside the gay label, defining gay men as effeminate and wanting to cross-dress and basically wishing they were women. I was 27 years old, married to a woman, and had one child already before the American psychiatric community concluded that homosexuality is not a mental illness, and homophobia is. Same-gender intimacy at the time was a crime in every state in the Union. The church that I grew up in, that my father was the pastor of, taught that homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teaching. After much counseling and reading, I finally figured it out. And then I had the good fortune of being able to come out in just the right sequence. I came out to my beloved wife, to my siblings, to my parents, to my children, and to a close circle of friends. On the Monday before that Tuesday night board meeting, my son came back to me with the same offer and the same question: "Are you going to come out publicly?" I said I hadn't decided for sure, but next Wednesday morning, one of us is going to be gay. Tension had mounted considerably over the course of the last several months because of some self-described Christians who came to every school board meeting criticizing our school district's non-discrimination policies that protected our LGBT students and faculty. Rumors had circulated about me, and all of the other board members and school administrators had heard the rumors, and they were all nervous at every single meeting that some one of these proselytizing so-called Christians would make a public accusation and embarrass me and complicate things for the school district. On the night of that Tuesday night meeting, there was standing room only in the school board room. There was overflow crowd in the adjoining auditorium. and the entire meeting was televised live and broadcast statewide. Near the end of that meeting, I asked for a point of personal privilege and made a public declaration and said something like this: many labels apply to me. I'm a man, I'm a father, and my two beautiful children are here tonight. And I love them more than life, just like all parents love their children. I'm a son, and my pastor father is here tonight. I'm a brother, and my pastor sister is here tonight. I'm an uncle, I'm a lawyer, I'm a public servant, I'm a citizen who has concern on a wide variety of issues that impact the delivery of quality public education. I try to be a good friend to my friends. I try to be a good neighbor to my neighbors. And I am gay. All of those other labels are still just as true. But the negative things that have been said about gay people in the last several months, those are lies. I know they're lies because I am a gay person. And now this community can know that they are lies, because this community knows me and has known me for more than a quarter of a century. The time was 10:24 p.m. And it was the time that I just assumed that I would have to start winding down my law practice and finding something else to do. But for the next 3 days, 2 secretaries and I were completely occupied, taking calls from all over the state of Iowa and beyond, supportive phone calls. My offices were filled with flowers to overflowing. It was very heartwarming. But then I decided that I would run for re-election to a 5th term on the Des Moines School Board. And there were death threats. I'd been on that school board for 12 years. I had served as its president multiple times. Every organization that interviewed all of the candidates that year endorsed my re-election. In running, I had to wear a bulletproof vest every time I was outside. The police department assigned a security officer to me who identified some safe houses where I could flee with my family if that became necessary. All the drapes in the house had to be drawn. At bedtime, I would turn the light out in the master bedroom and sleep in a different room for fear of a firebomb being thrown into the master bedroom. I had a loaded shotgun resting beside my bed. And there were tracks in the snow all around my home, up to all the windows. Remember, this was happening in Des Moines, Iowa. In a normal school board election, you win with 6,000 or 7,000 votes. I got over 12,000 votes and lost in a landslide. More than 30,000 people voted in that school board election, helped in part by several Republican presidential campaigns that were helping turn out the voters looking for wedge issues that would enhance their chances in the Iowa caucuses scheduled in early 1996. There's never been a turnout for a school board election in Iowa before that or since. One of the calls that I took the day after that board meeting was from a woman in outstate Iowa. And she said, "Mr. Wilson, you don't know me, but my husband and I have a gay son. And last night, the three of us watched the school board meeting on television because of the subject matter. And because of what you said and did last night, my husband and I don't think our son's going to kill himself. And I had to call and thank you for keeping my precious boy alive." Now, what I did that night was real important to those parents, to that kid, other kids just like him in the Des Moines Public Schools and beyond. Depending on your perspective, I was either in the wrong place at the wrong time, or I was in exactly the right place at the right time, as my son believed. And he believed that I would have what it would take to do this. I had to ask myself, what do you do when you find yourself in the midst of an accident of history? What do you do when the spotlight is on you? What do you do when your 15 minutes of fame arrives? Do you do the right thing, even though it hurts and it's scary and it may have negative consequences for you? That's what I had taught my children that they should do. It is what I had been taught to do when I was growing up. It was what my son was challenging me to do. And so, I made public what needed to be made public, even though on a personal level, it was not the public's business. After my school board defeat, I helped form the First Friday Breakfast Club. It's an association of gay men. It's the largest private breakfast club in the state of Iowa. And we have given over $250,000 in high school scholarships to Iowa high school seniors who have done courageous things to reduce homophobia, educate about LGBT issues, and work for civil equality for LGBT citizens. We're making tremendous progress. In Iowa, there are laws that give protection against discrimination for LGBT citizens and straight citizens. I can't fire my straight secretary just because she's straight. And that's true in a number of other states, but not all of them. In Florida, for example, where 49 people were slaughtered in a gay nightclub in Orlando. Any survivor of that assault who was interviewed on TV when they reported for work on Monday morning could be fired with no legal recourse whatsoever. And that church that I grew up in, it still teaches that homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teaching. But there's hope. You remember that woman who called me from outstate Iowa on a day she was just happy to keep her precious boy alive? What happens the next day when that precious boy experiences discrimination because he's a fag? What did his grandmother do? What do his siblings do? What do his aunts and his uncles do? His cousins, his co-workers, his friends? If it were your son, what will you do? Mother bears and father bears are notorious. What I did was just a brief teaching and learning moment, just a blip, trying to reduce some of the negative stereotypes that circulate about gay people. Stereotypes that I was immersed in growing up without any positive gay role models. Now there are many high-profile, positive gay role models, including one member of our Iowa House and one member of the Iowa Senate. On January 23, 1995, there were almost none. On January 24th, 1995, at 10:24 p.m., that changed. And every gay kid in the Des Moines Public Schools and beyond had at least one positive gay role model. I'm happy to have been one of the first, and I'm happy that when this was thrust upon me, I did what I thought was the right thing. Thank you.